Congratulations on your engagement. You're gonna be planning so many things over the next couple months, or for most of you guys, going along with whatever she planned. But while you may not agree on the menu of the reception, or maybe where you wanna go on your honeymoon, here's one thing you both need to be on the same page about: your prenuptial agreement.
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Yeah, your prenuptial agreement. I'm attorney Vanessa Vasquez, founder of the Vasquez de Lara Law Group, where we help couples build marriages on strong legal foundation. Listen, I know that in the excitement of planning your amazing wedding, the last thing you want to think about is what happens if you get divorced. But hear me out, a prenuptial agreement can be one of the most romantic things you can do. And I should know, I've been married 20 years. I know it may sound crazy, but just hear me out. Most couples will just say some standard vows and some may go so far as to write their own, right? But do they really mean them? Statistically speaking, it doesn't look like it. Half of marriages are still ending up in divorce. And as any marriage counselor can tell you, that romantic attachment that leads into a marriage proposal is going to fade. You have to have a relationship that is built on a very solid foundation. And that means going into it with a very clear idea of what it is going to mean to be married for the rest of your lives, and what it's going to cost you if you can't live out those vows that you say at the altar. When you can say, I do, and both of you know full and well what it's going to mean if you ever say, I don't, it's going to make those vows that much more meaningful. Now, let's get practical here. What even is a prenuptial agreement? Basically, it all comes down to what do you have and what do you make? What are your assets and what's your income? In Florida, anything you acquire as an asset automatically becomes a marital asset if you get it during your marriage. That means things as simple as his golf clubs or her handbag collection. Yeah, that LV, they're not just yours, they technically belong to your spouse also. But it also means bigger things that people don't think about, like retirement accounts and pensions. It doesn't matter that your name is on it alone or that the only reason you have it is because of your job. Any contribution, interest, or growth in that account after you get married automatically also belongs to your spouse. Or what about the business? It doesn't matter if your spouse is not involved in your business. It doesn't matter if you built it from scratch, and it doesn't even matter if you started it before you got married. If you grow the business during your marriage, that growth is partly going to belong to your spouse. By having a prenuptial agreement, you can be clear on what's yours and what will always be yours. You can also include stipulations in the agreement that account for many different situations. For example, you may understand that your spouse supports you in many ways, and you wouldn't be able to grow the business without them, even if they're not actually technically owners. So if at some point you just can't be together anymore, you're fine with them taking half. But, however, if your divorce happens because they were unfaithful and they cheated on you, you can stipulate in your prenup that they don't get anything from your business or your retirement. The other big area that comes into play is going to be alimony or spousal support. You may have the bigger income, which allows your spouse to do other supportive roles in the home. Under normal circumstances, you would likely be paying alimony. But with a prenup, you can stipulate that if a divorce happens because of infidelity or without a period of marital counseling and mediation, your spouse will waive the right to alimony. Lots of things like the length of alimony can also be worked into a prenup. What cannot be worked in, however, are anything that has to do with your kids. Prenuptial agreements are all about the money, nothing related to your family and your children. You can't stipulate something like if one of you leaves, you automatically give up time sharing rights with any kids you might have. I know these conversations can be really, really tough, and they can bring up a lot of fear and anxiety in both of you, but trust me, I've literally seen thousands of people getting divorced, and it's never pretty. And none of those people thought they were going to end up in divorce court either. They loved each other and wanted to spend the rest of their lives with each other. That's why they got married, but they didn't have a plan. If they had actually spent some time talking about the real possibility of what would happen if that feeling ever changed, they may have been better prepared to work things out. That's what a real commitment looks like, taking that step of faith together, fully knowing what it could cost you. If you want some more free resources on prenuptial agreements in Florida, be sure to click the link in the description or up in our bio. I'm attorney Vanessa Vasquez from the Vasquez de Lara Law Group, and remember, when family problems become legal problems, we can help.